Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. The new girl on the block. This is the new Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette. Yes, I know that I'm late, but I've been really excited about this since I got it. Alright, so obviously this is the packaging. In the back you get a list of all the shade names, and then here is the beautiful palette. So I know some people kind of didn't like the overall design of this, the 3D. I think it's different. I like it. I don't have a problem with it. Now, if I had to choose though, I don't know, just because just the way that my brain works aesthetic wise, I wish this would have matched like her glam palette packaging, you know, just because I want things to look cohesive, and I own most of her palettes and they are packaged, you know, mostly in that type of a, you know, container. But I'm not mad about this. This is nice. It doesn't mean that this isn't beautiful, isn't, you know, aesthetically pleasing to the eye. It's just, if we're gonna talk personal preference, I would have preferred it to be in the other packaging, just so that they just look a little bit more cohesive when I have them together. You know, whatever. Let's take a closer look. So here is the palette. I am filming in natural light, so what you see is as close as it's gonna get to seeing this palette in person. Let me just turn this around. For those of you who don't know, all of Natasha Denona's palettes are customizable, which means that on the back you have these pinholes where you can pop out each shadow and rearrange it to what you want. I know there's a lot of people who actually pop out all of her shades from other palettes and rearrange it to create like their perfect palette for whatever tone they're looking for. I personally don't do that, not because I don't like it, I'm just too afraid. Like, I feel like that's gonna be one of those Pinterest projects that go wrong. By the way, I'm applying Armani Luminous Silk. I'm in shade 4.5. 2 pumps with a beauty blender. Anyways, I am the epitome of Pinterest gone wrong. I don't embark in those kind of projects because they usually cause a lot more stress. They're never as easy as it looks. And what I end up creating is a hot mess, you know? So I know my limits, and so I just stick with that. But if you guys are very crafty and very delicate, that's another thing. I am not delicate with my hands, which is the reason why I don't ever have long nails. I'm super tough like with my hands. I'm constantly like jamming my fingers into things, bending my nails, which is why I just keep them short. It just works out better for me that way. Also, by the way, I'm not a super big fan of Luminous Silk. I know that's an unpopular opinion. I know this is like ride or die holy grail for most, and how dare I be so disrespectful, but sorry, it's not my cup of tea. By the way, I am literally still recovering from the flu I got 2 weeks ago. I don't know why. I don't know why it's lingered so long. The congestion has lingered forever. First time I've had something last this long. But anyway, this is not my favorite foundation because on me I feel that it doesn't hold up as well as I see it hold up on other people. It doesn't matter if I set it, if I don't set it. After like, I would say a 7 to 8 hour mark. Oh, by the way, I'm using the Chanel Le Corrector in Rose just to brighten the inner corner of my eye. Anyways, around the 7 to 8 hour mark, I start to see separation in my, like around my nose area. I start to notice some creasing in between my brows, which is not something that usually happens with any of my other foundations. And for that reason, it's just not my ride or die foundation. However, I'm using it because it is literally the only foundation I have right now that's in my summer shade. Most of my other foundations are a little too light for me, so I might as well just use it while I can. Next, we are gonna set the face ever so slightly. I'm using a Real Techniques powder brush, and I will be using my Chanel setting powder. This one is in the color Translucent, also known as 20 Clair. This is the original formula. This was reformulated not too long ago. However, I've been using this for the setting powder for at least 6 months. I haven't made a dent in it. It is so good, very finely milled. It is one of the best setting powders I've used in a while. I haven't tried the reformulated version, but if you guys have, let me know. Is it the same? Should I trust the reformulation? Because I feel like every time I hear that a company is gonna reformulate one of our favorite things, it's usually a happy ending, you know? My hair is out of control today. And after this video, I'm gonna take a very long shower. I'm so tired. I have done, today is like the day I do like my chores. Bronzer, by the way, I'm using my Charlotte Tilbury airbrush bronzer in the shade number 2, medium. I'm going in with a ColourPop F13 brush. Look at the dent I've made on this baby. Anyways, I have done 3 loads of laundry, so let's just start with that. That's not including the 2 loads of dishes I've done. My cat threw up, so had to clean that. And then here we are. I'm already exhausted. Been up since 7:30 because my sweet baby Angel doesn't sleep past 7:30. I woke up because my child, when I cover her, so she leaks at night, even though she wears overnight diapers. She leaks at night, right? Because she's cold. But I cover her, and then she gets hot, so then she uncovers herself to then get cold again, and then she leaks. And it's just a vicious cycle of laundry because, you know, although I have waterproof, you know, covers and stuff like that, if she leaks on the sheets, you gotta wash it, you know? I'm not a savage. I mean, anyway, it's already been a long day. I'm going in with my IT Cosmetics highlight fan brush, and I'm gonna be using my Natasha Denona highlight. This one is the one she released, I think it was, I don't know if it was the beginning of this year or last year. It was a pastel Plexi Glow highlighter. I've used this quite a bit. As you can see, I have made quite the dent in this sucker. There we go. Quite the dent in this one. I really like it. I think this is my favorite highlighter out of all of the ones she's come out with because it's super subtle and it pretty much goes with anything and everything. And I'm putting this first because I'm gonna go in with my highlight, with my blush, which is this one from Chanel, Rose Ecrin. But I kind of want to diffuse it a little bit with the highlight, so I'm gonna apply it on top just because I want like the most minimal amount of highlight for this particular palette. And so I just feel like going light-handed with the highlight is best. Now let's go with the blush. I'm gonna be using my Sonia G Cheek Pro brush, and we're gonna go into this beautiful Chanel blush in Rose Ecrin. I'm gonna go light-handed here, and I'm just gonna tap that in between the highlight and the bronzer, and then I will blend it all together. I found this to be probably the most neutral, cool toned blush I have in my collection. Before prepping for this video, I realized that I don't have any like neutral, cooler toned blushes. So now I'm just like blending everything together. I'm wiping this off on a microfiber towel. And then I'm gonna go a little bit over the highlight just to diffuse it a little bit further. And then voila, let's prime the lids with my Urban Decay primer potion. And for those of you who don't know, although I'm on a low buy this year and I have panned quite a few palettes, if you follow me on Instagram, you know. I actually picked up this palette, number one, because I don't have any cool tone, like neutral palettes in my collection. The only one I have is my Urban Decay Naked 3 palette, and that one I'm currently using for work days. And I would say I'm probably going to be done using that palette within the next couple of months. So I felt like this was going to be a nice addition to my collection. I also decided to pick it up because I had an unnatural amount of points at Ulta that I haven't used because, again, I've been like on a low buy, and I've really been picky with my purchases. So I felt like paying $0 for this baby was nice, because these used to retail for like $65. Now with like inflation, they're $69. Like, they were already expensive. I feel like now they're just, yeah. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Swatches I will do towards the end of the video. I want to get into the look first. And so I'm gonna be using, I'll go through my brushes here, but mainly I'm just using my Sonia G brushes. I'm gonna go in with my soft shader brush. This is from the Sky collection. So for those of you who don't know, all of the blue ferrules are the Sky collection, and that's how you can differentiate from the red ferrules. That's from her just original collection. This is like the core collection of hers. Okay, first shade I want to go into is Fair. This I feel like I need to neutralize my eyelids. Let's go ahead and take off the plastic. Yes. All right, I need something to neutralize the very prominent green veins that I have on my eyelids. Those of you who have been following me for a long time know that those suckers, they're bright and they like to shine all day, every day. So if I'm not using an eyeshadow primer that has any kind of color, which my Urban Decay one doesn't, then before starting my eyeshadow, I need to use something that's gonna neutralize all that. Next, I'm gonna go in with the classic crease, and I want to do something cool toned, taupey, mauvey situation. I want to go into Wit, which is like a toned down guava shade, I feel. And I'm just going to apply that to the crease. And I'm also gonna zoom you guys in so that you can see what I'm doing a little bit better. All right, so I'm just getting Wit all over the crease. This actually appears much brighter on the lid than it does in the pan. I thought it was gonna be just a bit more toned down. I guess I was wrong. So I'm going in very light-handed with this color. Next, I wanna go in with the color Stone. I'm gonna go in with the Classic Pro crease brush, and I'm gonna go into Stone. And I'm gonna apply that over Wit. I mean, that's gorgeous. Typical to Natasha Denona, you know, formula. There's no fallout. Very creamy, blends like a dream. Worker Pro brush, and I'm gonna lay down this color Whisper, because I feel like it's a very in-between shade, and I am gonna try to use as many shades as possible in this palette. Just putting that all over the lid. And then I'm blending it into the eyelid over here so that there's no separation. Next, I'm gonna go in with the Jumbo blender. I'm gonna go ahead and apply travertine into the outer corner there, and over those shades I put down. Let's do the same thing to the other eye. I really like this travertine color. It's like a smoky gray taupey color. It's very nice. My Blender Pro. And I'm going to diffuse that, blend it out. Wiping my brush on a microfiber towel, and I'm gonna go in to the color Tender. I can't tell you how excited I was when I saw this palette. How many of us have been waiting for a cool toned palette? I feel like it's the least, you know, color story people have in their collection. Cool tones, and this is just me making assumptions. I'm not a makeup artist, and I don't know anything about creating makeup, but cool tone shades must be pretty difficult to make, because man, is it super hard to find an actual cool tone palette. Most cool tone palettes, neutral cool tone palettes that company advertise to be cool toned, They never are. And I think that's the frustration of most. But I think we've got a winner. So I'm torn here between putting Delilah in the center of the lid or Muse. And I'm gonna use my Builder Pro to apply it. Let's see. And I'm going with a brush first because I don't want it to be super in your face, but I feel like this is gonna apply just the slightest light to the center of the lid. That is gorgeous. You know what, let's put Muse on one eye and Delilah on the other, just for the purpose of this video. So here we have Muse, and I'm wiping this brush on a microfiber towel. I'm gonna flip it over and let's go into Delilah on this eye. Oh, that is stunning. That is beautiful. I can't wait to swatch this for you guys. You know, if you're not into bronzy, warm palettes for the fall, I really feel like this palette is versatile enough that you can use it for the fall. Just me. Next, I am going to go in with my Refer 29 brush. This is the tiniest liner brush to ever exist. And I'm gonna go into Silhouette, which is the deepest shade in the palette, and I'm gonna tight line my outer lash line with this ever so slightly. Next, let's do brows and mascara. I'm gonna be using the Kosas brow gel. This is in the color medium brown. And I'm gonna be using my Bare Minerals Lashtopia mascara in the color black. For lips, we are gonna go in with the Natasha Denona I Need a Rose lipstick. I'm gonna do Kaya. I have the lip gloss, the lipstick, and the lip liner. If you're looking for something with a little bit more of a pink undertone, I would go with Daphne. I feel like because I have mostly taupes on, I feel like Kaya was a bit more appropriate and more neutral in nature. By the way, the Natasha Denona packaging is stunning. Her lipstick casings are solid, so they're weighty. They are just, you can feel they're sturdy. Now let's go in with a little bit of the gloss. And for those of you who are wondering, this is what the wand looks like. It's like flat. And then just putting that right on top. These glosses are a little bit scented. They have a vanilla buttercream kind of scent, but they are very juicy and very light in consistency. So here is the final look. So you can see that on this eye I put Delilah on the center of the lid, and it's much, you know, I think it's less like ba-bam in your face. And on this eye I did apply Muse, and when I look at you or when I turn my eye, definitely this is more of like when you want something a little extra, because it doesn't matter even if I have my eye open. The moment this color comes in contact with the light, it's very reflective, and you can definitely see the difference in both eyes. So for reference, I know I was telling you that if you wanted something a little bit more pink, to go with Daphne. So I have Daphne here to swatch for you guys. And this is really gonna depend on which colors you used in the palette, and of course, your skin tone. But here is Daphne. You can definitely see it's more like a neutral pink, and I felt that because of the taupes, Kaya looked better. However, Kaya can be deceiving because the packaging on this is very bronze, but yet the color of the lipstick is very neutral. And I'll swatch it side by side so you guys can see. All right, let's get into swatches. Here we have some finger swatches of the first row. So we have Stone, Whisper, Ella, Vague, and Tavertine. All right, so Stone is a creamy matte, Whisper is metallic, Ella is a sparkling foil, Vague is a creamy matte, and then Tavertine is a metallic. Moving on to the second row are some finger swatches. We have Delilah, Silhouette, Muse, Fair, and Filigree. I mean, just look how gorgeous. I think this is my favorite row. This row, we have Delilah, which is sparkling wet shade. We have Silhouette, which is a creamy matte. We have Muse, which is a sparkling foil. Then we have Fair, which is a creamy matte. And then Filigree. I mean, I think this is one of my favorite shades here. Filigree is a sparkling foil. Now for the last and final row. Here we have the finger swatches. First shade is Wit, a creamy matte. Sheen, glossy wet. Tender, creamy matte. Mesh, creamy matte. And Mia, which I think is probably one of the most popular shades in this palette, is a sparkling wet. So here we have Wit, Sheen, and you can definitely see it has that like glass effect. It does look wet in nature. We have Tender, creamy matte, Mesh, creamy matte, and then Mia, which has that same wet effect to it, but I feel like Mia is a bit more prominent than Sheen. All in all, my opinions of this palette is, obviously it's something that I don't have in my collection, so it was going to be a must purchase for me, because like I said, my Urban Decay Naked 3 palette is the only other cool tone neutral palette that I have. And honestly, if you're looking for something a little bit more budget friendly, I highly recommend the Urban Decay Naked 3 palette if you can't quite splurge on the Natasha Denona one. Also, if you are on a low buy this year like me, obviously I understand that most of you are not content creators, and so I purchase more makeup than the norm. So for those of you who are not content creators and you don't pan palettes or use makeup at the same rate that I do, if you have the Mario Ethereal palette, you don't need this one. And I'm going to show you those side by side because they're essentially the same. Here is the Makeup by Mario, and here is the Natasha Denona. I feel like with the Natasha Denona, you get more pink options, both in sparkly and matte shades. And I think that the Makeup by Mario sparkly colors, I think, are a bit more translucent, less opaque, more of a glass-like option than the Natasha Denona, and I'll show you what I mean. So this is one of the Makeup by Mario shades, and these two are from the Natasha Denona palette. I'm gonna swatch this right here, side by side. So with the Makeup by Mario one, you can see it's much more translucent. Even when the light hits it, is more of a glass-like effect. The two Natasha Denona ones are much more opaque and much shinier. I will say though, the Makeup by Mario palette, you are gonna get fallout with those shades. If you're not down with that and that's a deal breaker for you, the Natasha Denona is your go-to for that reason. You are not gonna get fallout with the Natasha Denona. That's one of the reasons why everybody loves her formulas, is because although you get these beautiful shimmering sparkling shades that everybody loves to add as a pop of color onto their lip or eyelids, or a pop of, you know, brightness to the lid, but you don't have to worry about fallout. So again, if that's like a deal breaker for you, I would definitely go for the Natasha Denona. If you're looking for something a little bit more compact, a little bit more simple, less, some people prefer to have less options, go with the Makeup by Mario one. That's just my personal opinion. You do you. I own both of them. The Makeup by Mario palette was actually a gift from my friend Maria, and that palette is really nice. I love it, but I know what I'm getting myself into. I am gonna get fallout, and so it is what it is. It is beautiful. I love the sparkling shades in there, and I do love the glass effect it gives me. And it is, in terms of that particular formula, it is very unique to my collection, because as I just showed you, although Natasha Denona did her own rendition of that, I feel like they're a lot more opaque and a bit more sparkly. If I had to choose one or the other, it really just, I'm gonna have to go with the Natasha Denona one. Why? Because it's what I own the most of, it's what I've worked with the most, and it's what I'm most comfortable with. I also don't have to be as careful with the Natasha Denona formula, because again, there's not fallout. With the Makeup by Mario, that is the only Makeup by Mario eyeshadow palette that I have, and I do have to be more careful with it because of the fallout. I mean, how many times can I say fallout in this video? All right, anybody counting? All right, so these are my overall thoughts of this palette. Let me know what you think. Did you pick it up? Did you use your points? Do you love it? Is it a must-have in your collection? Leave me your comments and your thoughts down below. If you have any questions, I will do my best to answer them. And have a nice weekend, guys. See you next time. Bye.